Hey everybody, Deborah Prinzing here. Welcome back to the Slow Flowers Show. And I'm delighted to introduce the mother-daughter duo of Yellow Petal Flower Farm, Kim Urso's mom. Hi, Kim.
Hello. Hi.
And Kylie Pack, her daughter. Hi, Kylie.
Hi.
And you're based outside of Reno, east of Reno. And welcome to the show. I'm so glad we could talk today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
You bet. So what caught my eye, and I do this, people, I follow everybody's Instagram. I subscribe to people's newsletters. This is how I get my intel. There was a post on January 10th on Instagram, a Yellow Petal Flower Farm's account that said, yesterday was a day we will never forget. Alongside 4 other incredible farms, our farm was recognized for its contributions to our community and the state of Nevada. We were utterly speechless when our little flower farm was awarded the 2024 Nevada Agriculture, Food, and Beverage Small Business of the Year. That is a big deal, and I thought we should talk about it and celebrate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Who wants to tell me how this all happened and how did it come together?
I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that we were nominated for the award. Another person in town who's been a great mentor for us, her name's Kelly. Same first name, last name.
Oh, I like her already.
Yeah. She welcomed us with open arms when we first moved to Fallon in 2020 and has just kind of really been a great supporter. So she nominated us and kept it under wraps since last October. And then just very randomly, we received an email that we were in the top 5 for consideration. And we really thought, well, I really thought he had no chance of winning.
Yeah, we were like, we're not going because we don't want to show up and lose. We feel like, a little bit imposter syndrome. We were very worried about going.
Like all those celebrities who don't win the Oscar, but they have to sit there in the audience and smile.
Right.
We were like, we know.
The previous recipients, it's a lot of big agriculture out where we live. And they're big players, farming on a much larger scale than we are. We're just doing something a little bit different, and we've talked about it a little bit on our social media. It's a heavy hay area, a lot of alfalfa growing here. People watching us very closely as we tilled up our alfalfa field into row crops, thinking that we had just really lost all sense. Tearing out our hay. But it's slowly over the years, is catching people's eye and bringing something different to our community here. So
wow.
So they really had to pull off kind of a big surprise to us to get us there. They kind of were like last minute, like, hey, you're for sure coming, right? We're like, no, we're not really sure. And they're like, no, you should come. So we last minute went, we flew in there late after both working all day, and we were caught by surprise, honestly, when they.
Wow. Was it in Reno or Salt Lake, or where did you go?
It was in Reno.
It was in
Okay.
Reno.
Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds like Fallon is a real agriculture area in Reno, but flower farms are incredibly rare, and people didn't really know how to categorize you. And now you're on the map.
Yes, now we are.
We do live in the desert, so it's not common to see this flowers growing at this level in the desert.
Well, congratulations, because I think you're going to help every other aspiring or established flower farmer in the state, which is Nevada's not really known for cut flower farming. Right. So you're going to raise awareness just by being out there representing this award. So
we hope so.
Yeah. That's the goal, I think.
I'm thrilled. And so the other kind of past winners have been like wineries or orchards or commodity producers.
So there's a very large somebody here who's pretty well known, lots of generations in farming, Frey Ranch Distillery. They're actually just down the road from us, but they farm and thousands of acres, and they distill whiskey. And so, that's a really easy thing to transport around. So they're spread very far across the country with their products.
Right.
Yeah. And then a lot of other big, like I said, hay growers.
Mhm.
And in contrast, Yellow Petal Flower Farm is hyper local, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about the farm. And I don't know, Kylie, who started it? You or your mom? How did you guys
I'll
get
let
this
you
thing
go.
going?
Well, my mom started it. She had been doing some soul searching after 23 years at her job at a law office. And I had been pregnant with my third child. And she came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to grow flowers with me?" And I was like, "Have you met me? I don't work outside. I don't like to be hot. Like, I will watch you grow the flowers." And so I was like, I don't know. But we kind of hit the ground running, taking Florette's course together in
2018.
2018, January 2018. We started that. And I didn't have any design experience beforehand. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do the floristy part of it, but I'm definitely not going to be working. That has changed. I do a lot more work with my mom now.
Wow.
And I really found my spot in the design world. I had some great florists let me come shadow them. And now I do a lot of freelance work with a lot of really wonderful Reno Tahoe florists.
So, and she did apply to work with Julio for one of his scholarships at his workshop, and Julio selected her. And so I think her second year in farming, Kylie got to go to Montana.
Oh, that's
spend a
great.
few days there, and I
Yeah.
think that was really pivotal for her.
It was such an immersive experience, and just getting to go and feel like, okay, I'm on the right track. That was one of my biggest takeaways leaving, was just, okay, we're doing the right things with farming and with doing our weddings, and we got this. So it was great.
I didn't know you did that, but yeah, we've loved Julio. We love the flower hat. He's a great Slow Flowers member, but I do think what he exemplifies is these sort of unique destination wedding venues. And I feel like where you are, and you mentioned Tahoe, that's similar. Like people
Yes,
come
that
to
is
get married.
such a big wedding area, and it's just it didn't change through COVID. People were still getting married. The 2 years after COVID were like double the weddings, and I think last year finally kind of leveled out to a normal amount of weddings again. So everyone's getting back on their feet of just one wedding a weekend, not doing anything crazy, but it is a hot spot, and people come from all over.
So how does it work? Tell me about all the buckets of services that Yellow Petal Flower Farm has. And you consider yourselves farmer florists?
Yeah, we
so,
do.
yeah.
We
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
And, working through, we moved to our new property in the middle of COVID. And we are a little bit outside of the Reno Tahoe area. So there's been a little bit of pivoting as we've gone along, trying to find just that really right sweet spot for us. So we do sell to a large wholesaler in the Sparks area. Their floral manager there is absolutely fantastic, and they backhaul for us. So when they deliver out to this area, they backhaul our flowers for us, which is fantastic because it keeps us here on the farm doing our work here.
Plus that truck's probably a cold chain, right? Like your product is not ever out of refrigeration.
No, and it's never out of water either. And so then designers from the Reno Tahoe area are able to pick up direct from their warehouse, which is more convenient for them, or sometimes they're on the delivery route as well. So we have that, and then we also have a lot of local sales in our community that we sell here, and
mostly like wrapped bouquets. We do a lot of that when we have our flower house and we pop up and we have all our bouquets. That's usually what we sell to the public.
Yes.
Okay, I asked you about the flower house, and you said it's a little red trailer. So Kylie, tell me about how that came to be. Is that in lieu of having people come to the farm to shop? Is that sort of why you did it?
I think it's more in lieu of like setting up a easy up and trying to have it just makes it really easy to pull into markets. There's a 4-way stop down the road that we just post up on the side next to the guy selling strawberries, and we can just pull in and open our little doors, and there we are. So
yeah.
And plus it's cuter. It's cuter than a pop-up tent, right?
It is. It is. Yes. Yeah. And it's very, very convenient, and people around town, they know. Now they know. We actually have a large military base that's here in Fallon. And so they're great customers as they leave the base. They all come down the same road.
You're making a lot of people happy. I love it.
Yeah.
So Okay, so a couple things I'm curious about. One is you worked in a law firm for over 20 years,
I
and
did.
now I guess we would call you a corporate escapee.
Yeah.
What
Sounds good.
Yeah. Was your family in agriculture at all, or was this just this buying this land kind of your okay, I'm serious, we're doing this kind of decision?
Yeah, I don't, I think everybody has a little bit of family who was in agriculture at some point, but I didn't grow up as a generational farmer.
Yeah.
I always loved working in my yard and tending to my flowers out there. And my mom always loved gardening. And I think that's one of the unique things about our family is that we do have 4 generations who all still live on the same piece of property. We're almost all first daughters, too, firstborn
Of
daughters.
course, get
Um,
those firstborn women. I'm one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get things done.
Yes, you
A little
have
bit
to.
of a different breed.
Yeah.
So wait, so Kim, your mother is still alive?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
And she
so
lives here with us.
okay,
Yes.
so you got your mother, you, Kylie, and then Kylie, you have a firstborn daughter.
I actually have a firstborn son, so
Okay, he's allowed.
Yeah, I know. We'll make
We're
an
gonna keep
exception.
him.
When I had him, I broke. It would have been 9 generations of firstborn daughters if I had a girl, and he
Wow.
broke that, he is amazing. And then my next 3 are all girls. So
Oh my
he's
gosh.
the oldest boy, and then I have three girls. So
But this is pretty unique to have 4 generations on this, basically like a family compound then,
Yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah.
What's the size of the property then?
We have about 33 acres.
Okay.
And everybody has a little bit of their own space. My husband and I and my 2 younger boys live in the main house. Kylie has an apartment just across the driveway with her and her 4 children. And then my mom is a horse lover and has wanted a barn her whole life. And so we built her an apartment in the barn when we moved to the property.
Oh my gosh, you made everybody happy.
I hope.
That's been the goal. It's been
Yes.
a little bit harder done than said.
It's like anything else. There
Yeah.
are challenges and bumps along the way. Like I said, we moved during the middle of COVID, and
well, my dad was deployed.
my
So
husband was deployed at the time.
he came back to moving an hour down the road in a whole new house, me and my family living in the house. It was hectic. It was a hectic
Yeah.
time.
Did he know about it till he came back from being deployed? Did
Oh,
you get any notice?
no surprise. No, he do. Yeah,
Oh.
he knew. We had been looking for a property before he left. We realized probably our second year into growing that we were going to outgrow that space. And then if we really wanted to be growers, we were going to have to move.
Yeah.
And so we really talked about it a lot because it was going to be a big change for everybody, and everybody kind of had to buy into it.
Mhm.
And there's still days where the cows are out or everything's going wrong that we say, I don't know why we're doing
What
this.
are we doing?
But it's only
Oh,
it passes.
wow.
you know,
So,
it-
yeah, were you in like the more urban, suburban area before with just a small yard, or
We had
how
2
did?
acres. We had 2
Okay.
acres in Dayton. For Dayton, it's a little bit. It's about an hour outside of Reno too, just a little bit different direction. We were in the acreage part of Dayton, but really there's only a couple farms in Dayton, and they own up pretty much all the land and water that there is. So we had the 2 acres, and we were growing on every inch we could, like out by the front road, up by the house, everywhere. We were growing
Wow.
flowers, and then we had the horses there too.
Mhm.
And we just ran out of space. So
Yeah. So now you have 33 acres, and you're obviously multiple residents, but probably you have complete room to scale now.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Yes.
We have about 2 acres total of just flowers now out there in the field.
Well, you mentioned you're growing in the desert, and then Kylie, you just talked about water rights. So what are the challenges for being successful? How has Yellow Petal Flower Farm cracked that code when other people haven't done that to really grow success? Are you all field grown?
Yeah, mostly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have some tunnels out there, but they're not heated or anything. We just have the plastic on them.
Mhm.
We have everything just out in the field, and water is very tricky in Nevada. There's not you have to buy it. And
Mhm.
we decided that if we were going to level up, we needed to do it the right way. Even though it's way hard to go get your water rights, find somewhere with water and everything that goes with that. It's way the harder way to do it, but we knew we wanted to do it right and go through the proper measures so that when we were ready to really be launching this, we had all our boxes checked.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Did you work with a realtor to do a search of what land was available with rights attached to it? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, to a certain extent. So in Nevada, you have to own commercial water to grow or sell any commodity, whether it's hay or meat, if you're
Okay.
raising cattle or anything like that. So we just had a domestic well where we were in Dayton, and that was going to require a complete conversion of that well and purchasing enough water, not only for our own personal use, but
Sure.
also for our farm use. And first, the challenge is finding water that somebody is willing to sell. In Dayton, it was probably running close to like $40,000 an acre foot. So
Wow.
typically your domestic well is going to have 3 acre feet of use. So I did a lot of research, talked to the state engineer's office, and then we knew we had to look in certain areas that had available water. So we are on a flood irrigation here, which is not the ideal way to water your flowers at all.
At all.
And so that's been a really big challenge for us as well. Learning to control the water, learning how to grow around the flood irrigation. And it's still not perfect for us. There's still mistakes that happen. We have to water at night a lot. When we irrigate, we have to do it overnight because if you put flood water in your dahlia field in the middle of 100-degree day, you're basically creating an aquarium for your dahlias,
and it fries them.
They're not happy.
There's too much, and it's the sun
the
reflecting.
reflection.
It's like putting mirrors all along your walkways and just shining right up on the dahlias. On top of, they don't like, the tubers do not like to be saturated in that way. So we learned by doing the wrong things, and then we adjusted. So now we water at night.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that you're trying to adapt to this agriculture practice that's, been around for a century or more for commodity crops or ranching. And here you are with this specialty product that it's almost like every flower variety has a different treatment approach, right? Like you mentioned the dahlias, you probably have a lot of things that need good drainage. There aren't a lot of cut flowers that like to be soaking wet unless they're like some like woodland plant that who would grow that in Nevada.
Right.
I've seen this flood irrigation. So basically describe it. It's like there's somebody else controls it, right? Or do you control it?
Well, in the larger scale, somebody else controls the water that's coming down the canals.
Got it.
And the project here was a federal project. I think in the early 1900s, maybe 1906, they put a series of ditches in. So we have to call and we kind of get in a line. We order our water. We ask for it at night. And then it comes flooding down the canal.
Just flooding on the land.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're able to control. So our first check where our flowers are, we open the gate like halfway. So it slowly goes instead of having to, rush out, gush out. But we have to go check it, especially at night. We drive down and we're like, oh, is it far enough to shut? Is it not? Because once the water's through, there's no stopping it. So we've had overflows, underwatering, overwatering. It's an art we're finding, and we're still tweaking it every time.
It's very variable too. We will send you some pictures of the flower field flooded. But
if I was interviewing you in the middle of, I don't know, May, I'd say take a camera and go out there. But I know it's like a little bit. You do have a cold winter, right? You're kind of considered high desert.
Yes.
Yep.
So when will you mentioned the high tunnels? Do you have crops in the high tunnels now, or when will you kind of bring things online?
We start in the studio in January. Usually we take November and December off and, and kind of try to rest and let the farm rest. And then January comes and we start all of our grow light stuff, anything that needs to be started that takes a long time. We'll start our snapdragons and all our cool flowers. And they'll go out, I don't know, still not till like April-ish. Like we really have to be careful because it just the frost.
And that would go out to a high tunnel or out to
a tunnel.
So the high tunnel provides a little bit of protection then.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. Nothing is safe in the field really until the end of May. We've had 2 or 3 years ago, we lost our entire zinnia and cosmo stock because we planted it just a little bit too early. And we had a late frost in May and all of our nice blush zinnia seeds that we spent so long saving.
Yeah.
They did not like it. That was a tough loss for us. So now we're a little more careful and we just wait. We'd rather be a week behind and have it than just not have it at all because we just jumped the gun and the weather got us.
Oh, you hear those heartbreaking stories and everybody can relate to that. But by having your ability to start seeds indoors, you're not direct sowing. You're bringing a sort of a young plant outdoors. So hopefully that week delay, you'll catch up during the season. When the temperatures go really high. Oh my gosh.
Right.
So are you growing, what are your main crops? You said dahlias, you mentioned annuals. Are you pretty much in that range? Do you do perennials at all or grasses?
We do like to have perennials. We've had some perennial failures in the past. Probably our biggest crop of perennials that we grow is peonies. We have close to 700 plants out in the field now of at least 3-year-old peonies.
That is awesome.
Everybody's 3 years and older. Our oldest ones are 7 years old now, and they are very prolific, shooting up 15 blooms at least per plant. So everyone's really happy out there. They tolerate the flood irrigating surprisingly well. They're a little bit built up. We have the rows, so they're not like just level with the water, but their roots get that seepage that seeps into the row. So we have them pretty happy out there, and they're not much to manage. So that's nice.
So 2025 will be a big peony year for you then with those 3-year-olds. Like that's a major wedding flower. Are you selling most of those to the wholesaler or save them for your own weddings?
It's a mix. So some we try to save. We do great at the flower house with our peonies. Because people know that they can only get them for so long.
Yeah.
So
and you probably are not competing with Trader Joe's prices. You're getting more of a premium price because it's such a rare phenomenon.
And even people get peonies from Trader Joe's a lot. That's a lot of the normal people get their peonies there because that's where they can get them. But we've had our friend get them from there, and she says, "How do I get these to open?" And they, cut them too soon, and they're just rock hard. And we're like, "Yeah, those are not going to open. Those have probably been cut months ago, and they're not going to open.
Dry stored or whatever." Yeah. So your reputation is for a premium product.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That's what we try to achieve because, our stuff's never out of water and we can get it to the designers fresh. They say, "Oh, I need a nice open peony for this bridal bouquet," or I need it a little more closed because I need it to last until here. And one of the things we said when we started is we want to talk to the designers and cater to their needs, really cater, because I think that when you're ordering flowers for a wedding and you have to order from Mayesh and from the wholesaler and all these different places and things aren't coming in right. I know from doing my own wedding work and freelancing that we need it to be right as florists. So I try to cater to them. Text me everything you need. Text me every detail so that we can get it right for you.
So you're kind of putting on your designer hat when you're curating a pull for that or that order for the wedding designer.
Yeah.
So how about, would you say 50% of your flowers you harvest are going direct to florists or through the wholesale channels, and then the other 50% to the public?
I would say so.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. Oh, I want to put your website up just so people can see a little bit about what's happening on your cute website. So
thank you so much.
Yeah.
My mom has designed this whole website herself. Countless hours of me being like, "Can we just move it a little over?" And she's like, "No, we can't do that. It's not happening." So she has done this beautifully. If you ask me, I'm a little biased, but she spent a long time on this website.
And then I love this. Well, do you love flowers too? We do too. I love it. So tell a little bit about your story, but then I was interested about private events on the farm or this farm stay. So those just kind of fun, not a huge profit centers, but just something to make sure that you have a way for people to come experience the farm or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Our farm stay has been really great. We've met so many amazing people, and I think that it really gives, because we are kind of out in the country, so to speak. Even though we're still very close to the hub of Reno,
Mhm.
but it's definitely very peaceful here, and there's not a lot of traffic. You hear the noise of the animals and the birds.
Mm.
And you can sit in the flower field and watch the flowers blow in the wind, and it's just a way for people to reground themselves and reconnect,
I
that
love it.
you just can't find it everywhere.
Yes. A lot of people don't get to be out in the quiet, just enjoying. A lot of people live in congested areas. People come from California and they just haven't seen anything exactly like this. And we get a lot of good feedback about just the peacefulness of it.
Oh, the sweetest little farmhouse, our 1900 farmhouse known as the sweetest little farmhouse. So that's one of the venues that people can book. And then the farm apartment is another like smaller area for people to stay.
It is. The really great thing about the farmhouse is that it was the original house on the property. And it really does look and feel like an old farmhouse.
Yeah.
It's all the floors are uneven, the doors are not square. It's been added on to.
There's sort of this romance about that then.
Yeah. And the two people that have lived here previously to us, the two owners of this property, actually still live in Fallon. And so we know both of them. And so there's a little bit of a connection and storytelling that can go along with that, as far as what happened here before us.
Wow.
So
yeah, the history.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now you're creating your own. I clicked forward here to the on-farm ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you, Kylie, in that cute
Yes.
video?
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, so the first wedding we had in the flower field was my wedding, and it was very exciting.
Oh,
It was special, and it was intimate, and it was a nice way to showcase like what we offer here. And my photos came out wonderful. My photographer was amazing, so it was great.
and did you make your bouquet?
Yes,
Of course.
And you know what? I got married in May. This was in 2022, and we didn't really have any flowers. And the peonies, the coral peonies that are in that bouquet, are really the only flowers from our farm. We ordered from Drew and Bethany.
Clara Joyce.
Yeah.
Charles Little.
And those few peonies opened for me. Like they were out there in the field. I was squeezing them every day.
Oh.
And I think I got like 4 peonies that opened up enough for me to use. So that was very special.
I love that.
And then create my own bouquet. And I just didn't want any other flowers except my bouquet. And it was it was wonderful.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So how many weddings on-farm weddings are you doing a year?
Just really a few, right? We are leaning more into that. There's a lot of complications that come with a lot of people being on your property and insurance struggles. There's some new legislation coming through this year, hopefully, that will protect agritourism. People like us who want to be able to open up our farms and protect ourselves from liability. So
I hear that, Kim, so often. It's like on the one hand, like visitor, the tourism industry wants to claim that they support agritourism, but then all these policies make it really hard unless you're a big corporate farm to whatever, have the correct number of parking spaces or
parking. Don't even get us started about the parking spaces.
There's a lot that goes into it. And we still, when we started, we kind of mapped out a 5-year plan. We're only getting to year 5 here. And so it's still very much on our table to expand that part of our business. But we're just doing it very carefully
Yeah.
and calculated.
And
we want it
organically.
to be intimate. We don't want bulk weddings. We don't want 3 weddings a weekend pumping them out. We want it to be intimate. We want it to be special. We're really trying to like cater to a certain clientele, and it's not just everybody. We want it to be an experience.
Yeah, I feel like you want a couple that is so gaga about your flowers that the flowers become, and the farm become the reason that they, asked to be considered to be on your property.
Yeah.
Not somebody who's going to say, well, we're going to buy I hate to say it, but flowers in the box from Costco and pop it up.
And that's not allowed. We've found that we have to tell them no fake flower petals are to be thrown. Like we will give you some flower confetti that will compost into the ground. But like you would think you wouldn't have to tell somebody that. But then here we are picking up fake petals down the walkway.
Oh my gosh, nothing would make me crazier.
That's the other part. This is a working farm with weeds, and it's the part of it out there where we have weddings. It takes a lot of work to make it a working farm and aesthetically pleasing for a wedding venue. So it's
the labor involved in prepping for an event must be calculated into the rental price. I get that. Wow.
Yeah.
So coming up for the new year, what a great way to start the new year with this award and this recognition. Absolutely. I'm sure a big fat check didn't come with that award, but at least you can get bragging rights, right?
Right. Yeah. I wish I could say it did, but
well, I think it's the other things that will come, the publicity and hopefully the fact that your leadership is, people will come to you to speak at events and that sort of thing. And I hope that allows you to get your message across statewide.
Yeah, it was a great time for it to come because you know how it is in farming. It's January and you see your fields a mess and you're just like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do it this year? It's just one of those times of years that it just feels hard and you feel discouraged. And so it was exactly what we needed coming into this new year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad those people tricked you into attending.
Yeah, there's a lot of validation in it too. Success, we define success generally as a whole on monetary success. And while we all need to pay our bills, for sure, there's other success that we've had along this journey, creating friendships, touching people's lives with our flowers. We give a lot of flowers away. And sometimes it's not really a calculated give. It's just a give when we feel moved to give. And sometimes in those movements, we have made extraordinary friendships because we just gave at a time we felt we needed to, and we touched somebody's life so deeply, or we gave them their mother's very favorite flower who had just passed, and we didn't even know. And all of the friendships from other people who have kind of helped us, the other ranchers and farmers that are here who don't know about flowers but know about hair cows, who come back to us and say, those were the most beautiful flowers I have ever seen in my life, is really special. Those are really special things. And so I have to remind myself that the success is not getting every weed. It's not getting every dollar. It's for the people that are going to remember that lady who grew the flowers down the street and how you touched their life. So
I love it. You guys are a great team.
thank you.
Do you have other team members, or is it pretty much? I mean, obviously,
child labor.
Put those 4 grandchildren to work, or I mean, it sounds like you kind of already have Kim taking the lead on farming and Kylie taking the lead on design, but maybe you're cross-trained.
It's really a very, I say, pretty even mix. She does a lot of the field work. She'll be out there. I have to drag her in. I say, Mom, if it's 10 o'clock or over 95 degrees, you have to come inside, because she'll be out there hoo-hooing at 1 p.m. and I have to go get her out of the field. So
she doesn't faint.
I think we're a good balance. Sometimes I don't work quite hard enough and she pulls me up, and sometimes she works too hard and I'm like, take a break. So I think it's a pretty good balance. And we can communicate without speaking, like, the thingy, oh, no, not that thingy. And like, we flow very well together.
I love it. Yeah.
And we've had a couple people come out to help us for the seasons, and that's been great. But we care about our flowers more than we'll be able to get anybody else to. And I think that's normal when you run your own business, whatever it is. And so it's hard to bring people in knowing that we want it done a very certain way for good reason, because, we've had failures.
Yeah.
And there's a gap in that scaling also. So, I really love listening to Drew at Clara Joyce and how he runs his operation and tries to keep his employees busy all year. But in that process, you have to have enough. You have to be able to produce enough. And that comes with other pressures as well. And so I think we're still trying to navigate that balance in between what we can manage ourselves and how much bigger we would have to grow to add 1 or 2 team members and what that would look like. And it doesn't always pencil out.
I think you're right, especially when you're also asking this farm to support 4 generations and the kids are coming and going. And so there's probably some safety issues of, I don't know, your cow. What's the age range of your kids, Kylie?
9, 8, 6, and 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have two teenagers.
Then, my brothers, they're
well, maybe those teenagers can help.
They do. Like everybody does help, on some scale. Kylie's daughter, her oldest daughter, knows how to drive our little Kubota, and sometimes she has to drive it up and drop off the flowers and then come back to the field. And they like to do that.
Yes, what a great childhood.
And the freedom to let them do that. So
I love it.
There's a lot of ways that everybody helps that are really meaningful.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really beautiful story that most people think doesn't exist anymore. And you've found a way to create it for yourselves, because this wasn't your childhood, Kylie, right? You were kind of a suburban kid, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I did not want to. I said when I was a teenager, I said I'll watch the boys inside, my brothers, when they were babies. I said I'll watch the babies all day long, but please don't make me go outside. I don't want to be hot. I don't want to be sweaty. I also don't want to be too cold. So no, I was just not. I didn't have quite that work ethic that my mom and my grandma both have. They're both very hard workers, but I'm coming around. And
you are. You're a great role model for your kids.
Feel like if I can do it, pretty much anybody can do it.
So before we wrap up, tell me what you have cooking for 2025. We talked about your wonderful little what do you call it? Flower house. Yeah. So it's like a vintage trailer, or?
Yeah, we'll have to send a picture.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
What other fun things are you going to experiment with, or crops you're going to try, or are you just like, let's get through the year and have a year where every peony can be sold?
Right. It's a little bit of both. We kind of already touched on it, expanding those wedding ceremonies opportunities in the field. We really have a heart for sharing and would like to create an outdoor classroom to do some different outreach with younger people in our community.
I love it. Yeah.
And those on-farm experiences, picnics, birthdays, baby showers, things like that.
Yeah.
So things that are private events are probably easier to host with whatever zoning regulations there are versus open to the public. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've pretty much heard that from a lot of folks. Well, I also think that it's going to be a year where your leadership will really influence people throughout the whole state. And I guess my final question is, what is the attitude of the general consumer in Nevada for local flowers? Do they even know local flowers are possible or available to them, or is there more education that needs to take place, or can you be that vector for that information?
Yeah, I think there's definitely more education. I think most people are surprised when we have our vibrant peony bouquet and they said, wait, you grew those here? I can't get my peonies to grow ever. And it comes with them asking questions and then leads to us educating and kind of empowering them. Like, no, you can do it. Like, let me show you how to grow this peony plant. Let me give you some tips. Same with the dahlias. Like, people say, oh, I have to dig them up. I'm not cut
Yeah.
out for that. And we just help guide them. And I think it makes women specifically feel empowered of like, okay, I can do this in my garden. I can have this at my house. And I love doing that at the markets.
Yeah.
Well, you're giving them access to beauty that they
Mhm.
deserve. And,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I think that's really important. I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh, I don't want to
Any-
discount our men customers. We definitely do have them.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you look at the demographic of your sales and who's following you, our primary customers are women.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, except for those people leaving the base and driving by
Yeah,
your farm,
yeah.
right? I love it.
Even our
No.
men customers, usually they're bringing the flowers to the women.
Yeah.
And it's really, we're women and we have a big family of women, and that's who we like to speak to and empower.
Yeah.
And that's,
But I'm with you, Kim. We got to get more guys feeling confident. And
Yeah.
you guys are so accessible and personable. They're not going to feel stupid if they ask the wrong question. You're going to make
Yeah.
it fun for them. So
For
I
sure.
love it.
Yeah.
Well, I am so happy we got a chance to meet over, the internet and do this virtual interview. And maybe I can come to Reno and come visit you.
That would be delightful.
Or Fallon.
We got
Yes.
a place for you to stay.
That's right. I got to book my
Yes.
farmhouse visit.
Yeah.
But I'm so thrilled that we could share this story with the greater Slow Flowers community, and we'll share photos and links to Yellow Petal Farm's places and maybe that photo of you winning the award. I think it's just really great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And
Thank you so
it
much.
bodes well for a wonderful year to come.
I think so. Yeah, I do.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.